We're going to move to resolution number 26. It is the fourth one down. I'm going to run them together. 26 and 27 is together. I'm just going to read them, and then I'm going to turn it over to Council Hoffman. Resolution approving amended and restated redevelopment agreement between the Housing Authority of City of New Brunswick acting as redevelopment agency and New Brunswick 2 Urban Renewal Associates redeveloper, and approving concept plan in Farrandeck redevelopment plan area. That's 26. 27, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it as well. Resolution approving amended and restated agreement by and between the Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick acting as redevelopment agency and Downtown Hub Associates Roman numeral 3 LLC for redevelopment project pursuant to Farran redevelopment plan on property known as the New Brunswick tax map as block 17.01, lots 1.05 and 1.06. Mr. Hoffman, at this time.
Good evening, everybody. As you indicated, there are two redevelopment projects, and they're both in what's known as the HELIX area in the Farran Mall redevelopment area. You may remember there was the phase one project, which is the Rutgers Medical School building. And if I can look out my window and see a crane, it's being constructed right now. The remainder of it was then divided into a second site, which a DEFCO affiliate was going to develop the remainder of the site. That has now been, that remainder of the site, which goes from Front Street all the way back, is now divided into two sites. On one of the sites, there will be a new redeveloper, which will be a DEFCO entity, and SJP, the New Brunswick LLC. And what has happened is that DEFCO has assigned the development rights to that new entity. There's been a subdivision which divides off this lot from the remainder of the lot. And in between the two buildings, there's an area which is a plaza, which is called a paseo. What's going to be built on this site is a 415,000 square foot, 11-story research office building. The cost is approximately $375 million, and the building is intended to be leased to Nokia. The developers are DEFCO, which, as everyone's aware, has developed the bulk of the city of New Brunswick and are spectacular developers, and SJP, which is a prominent real estate developer in the Northeast. There is before you a concept plan and a subdivision plan that have been filed with the authority. The action requested by the Housing Authority tonight is to approve the concept plan and an amended and restated redevelopment agreement. The other redevelopment agreement was on this site, and the back site is no longer relevant. The key components of the redevelopment agreement is the project will start by August 31st, 2025, and be finished within 36 months. The redevelopment agreement has the usual provisions with regard to insurance, indemnity, a certificate of completion when they're done, consent for assignment, mortgagee participation. Also, they will, as we have in all of our agreements, attempt to use residents to help construct the site. A detailed financing plan will be presented by March 1st, 2025, or 30 days prior to construction, whichever is earlier. When this agreement is approved, the 2002 existing redevelopment agreement will be terminated. The second action is on the remainder of the site, and that is being transferred. The rights of that development are being transferred from one DEFCO affiliate to another DEFCO affiliate. Here, there are two sections to this. The part of the site is the site, it's called the paseo, which I call the plaza, between the two buildings, and that's going to be that'll be explained by Marissa and Chuck Liebling. There'll be commercial elements there. The remainder of the site, there will be construction, and they're looking at doing various different projects in which they will describe. In there we're approving also an amended and restated redevelopment agreement and the termination of the 2002 the redevelopment agreement. We have with us tonight Tom Kelso representing SJP New Brunswick, and he will speak to the first project, which is the office research project. And we have Chuck Liebling, the attorney for the DEFCO representatives, and Maria Busney, who I was going to say is a senior executive, but she might be offended by that, is an executive at DEFCO, which will describe the project. She will just talk both about the Paseo and about the remainder of the site. If there aren't any other questions, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kelso.
Thank you, John. Well, John really kind of laid out exactly why we're here and the reasons why we're coming forward at this point in time. I think to make it simpler to understand is, as the board knows, there is a redevelopment agreement that was executed in May of 2022. That redevelopment agreement was intended to provide for the parameters for developing the balance of the Farron redevelopment area after the first building was approved, which of course, as you know, is under construction. What we're really doing tonight is just asking you to take that agreement and split it in two, because the first part of that new component is the Nokia building, which is being developed, as John indicated. What we're requesting is that it's an entity that's been formed with DEVCO as the primary member and SJP Properties of North Jersey as a member who was assigned into the redevelopment entity in accordance with the terms of that existing redevelopment agreement. And then it's somewhat of an unusual situation if you think about it, because we're here before you not only to approve that redevelopment agreement for that Nokia building phase, but also to approve the concept, which has already been approved by the planning board. Typically, it goes the other way, but for timing purposes, we moved ahead with the approval by the planning board on April the 8th. And in fact, the planning board unanimously approved the subdivision and site plan approval for this building. Nonetheless, we come before you this evening to approve it conceptually as required by law, and to approve the redevelopment agreement that calls for the terms that usually are in those redevelopment agreements, not only the time schedule that John indicated, but those other provisions that are always in our redevelopment agreements. Then the second agreement, which is being now asked to be approved by that second resolution, is to approve the redevelopment agreement for the balance of the site. And that is an entity that is formed by DEVCO, and DEVCO continues to be the redeveloper for that component, which would be overall, if you're looking at the redevelopment site for the Farron redevelopment area, it would be the third phase and final phase for that development. So in effect, we're just taking the existing redevelopment agreement and splitting it in two. And the only difference is the addition of SJP Properties for the Nokia building is part of the financial and development partner for that site. So as you can see, we're progressing fairly rapidly here. The expectation is that the Nokia building will be underway with all approvals and starting in the middle of next year with a 3-year construction period. And in the interim, DEVCO is working on various potential possibilities for that third phase. That's an overview. What I intend to do is I'm going to ask Marissa Butchney from DEVCO, who is a vice president. I won't call you a senior vice president. Just to give us an overview, because she's been engaged in this from the very beginning, and to talk a little bit about, the thought process for the phase 3. And then I'm going to call representative from SJP Properties to just revisit the Nokia building so that the board gets a fresh view of what that concept is. I know that your chairman, Zach, is a member of the planning board, saw that full presentation. So I know he's very familiar with it. But to just give you a sense of where we've come and the exciting, anticipation of having Nokia here in New Brunswick with their northeast um, um, center, and a feather in a cap for the city of New Brunswick. But I'm going to give him an opportunity just to give you an overview of that. So without any further comments from me, I would ask Marissa if you might just give us a general overview of where DevCo's plans sit today with respect not only with the Paseo, but perhaps the balance of the site.
Sure. And Andrew, maybe you can share the plans, our presentations.
Yep, I just need the host to allow me to screen share. I am disabled.
Last time I gave somebody access, I never got it back. It was a,
And they ran off with it. Set them up.
Well, Andrew's the Chief Operating Officer of SJP, so I think he should be able to handle it.
Yes.
where are you right now, Andrew? What town are you in?
Parsippany, New Jersey.
I could find you. Here you go. You just got it.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Andrew. You're good.
All right, we are sharing. There you go, Marissa.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you. Andrew will talk a little bit more about the Nokia building as we go on, but if you could go to the next slide. I think everybody here is somewhat familiar with, as Mr. Hoffman and Mr. Kelso have already described, the 3-phase project that we refer to as the HELIX. We've really tried to build on the innovative approach to healthcare that we started with the Rutgers Cancer Institute, which is halfway completed, should be opened next year. And represents an investment of over $900 million. We've tried to build upon that with the Health and Life Science Exchange, which is what HELIX stands for. As a vision focused on creating not only an innovation district, but an entire ecosystem where scientists, academic medical school educators, students, the private sector, startups could all collaborate and energize the local and regional economy, as well as the state's economy. The HELIX development will be comprised of the 3 buildings or phases and their associated public spaces. When we received our initial approval from this board, we always anticipated that we'd be back before you to give you further definition to the project as it progressed. The first building, H1, which was already described, which would be 575,000 square feet and represent an investment of $735 million, is currently under construction. You can go to the next slide, Andrew, please. As
Yep,
you can
it's
see,
loading.
it's currently under construction. Tenants of that building include Rutgers School of Medicine, their translational research component, Hackensack Meridian Health, Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Middlesex County, and most recently, Johnson & Johnson announced that they'll be taking space within the building. So as you can see, we're moving pretty well on the steel construction, and we are actually, this was last week, we're actually up to the 8th floor, which is halfway to the top of the building. The outdoor amenities at the HELIX will be an exciting addition to the city with experiential spaces. This is the area that is sometimes referred to as the Paseo, sometimes referred to as the walkway, the Strand. We haven't really settled on the actual name, but it's the public amenity space that is between H1 and H2 and actually connects the buildings to H3 via a public walkway. It's an experiential space that will welcome the public in tents like with seating, event, dining options. In fact, there will be a food hall of approximately 10,000 square feet in H1 that will have large garage doors that will open onto the walkway and meander through the development site. We expect H1 to be completed by the end of 2025. And obviously here's a rendering of the Paseo showing you some of the public spaces and amenities that we are anticipating including in the space. Andrew's going to provide the information regarding phase 2 on the H2 building, but I just wanted to say that as a result of H1 and as a result of H2, which is the Nokia Bell Labs announcement that they're recommitting to the state of New Jersey, we have had many discussions and has really energized the discussion on the H3 building, which is the third development proposed for the area. And we're excited about the possibilities for the site. We have the ability to accommodate floor plates that are conducive to either office space and or laboratory space. And we also alternatively have the potential to develop housing on that site. We have several meetings in the next few weeks with companies who are interested in that site and the development potential there. Our goal is to develop a project that serves the city's best interest. We are optimistic that we'll move ahead quickly on H3 and that we may be able to be under construction prior to the completion of H1. That is after we come back to you and tell you what we'd like to do. I think the main gist of the H3 discussion is we want to do what makes the most sense. And therefore, we have several development options that are on the table. And we look forward to coming back to you and discussing them with you and come up with the best plan for that site.
Let me say this legally, they're obligated to come back within 18 months.
Right.
All right, thank you, Marissa.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.
As Marissa indicated, we have with us Andrew Natali from SJP Properties, the Chief Operating Officer. And we are asking Andrew if he could give us just a quick overview of the Nokia building, the building itself, the layout, its location, and put it in relationship to the H1 building. So Andrew, it's you.
Sure. Thank you everyone for your time tonight. Greatly appreciate it. The opportunity to present. What's on the screen here is a rendering of the proposed Nokia building. Nokia looked at various sites throughout New Jersey, actually over 25 sites they did due diligence on. And due to the quality of downtown New Brunswick, the innovation that's happening at the HELIX, the accessibility of the train station, center of the state, they selected this project not only for the community and the location and commutability, but also the customization that this property allowed us to design a specific building to meet the future of science. Nokia Bell Labs, or Bell Labs specifically, has been in New Jersey for over 80 years and is a 100-year-old company. Choosing to relocate and stay within the state was critical to the future of their technology. They invented fiber optics. A lot of the satellite technology and original cellular technology was invented in the Murray Hill location, and relocating the science here to better understand and better research artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and the future of the technology in Bell Labs was very important to them. They've won over 10 Nobel Prizes in their facility that they plan to relocate to New Brunswick, and actually working to what Marissa described in the Paseo, relocate them within the town in the Paseo to really feature them and anchor this as a hub for science and technology as their future flagship. In the redevelopment, just going through the lots very quickly, the configuration, this has been talked about, so I'll go through it quick. When H1 was approved, it approved a separate lot configuration with the remaining parcels considered into lot 1.02. Our proposed subdivision that was presented, to Tom's point, on April 8th, split the lots into lot 1.04, which is the proposed Nokia building, the Paseo, which Marissa described, and the back access road and remaining lots where H3 would be located. And that's what was presented in a subdivision that we did in early April. The proposed Nokia building, taking out those lots and zooming in slightly, stays within this footprint that's bound by Spring Street, French Street, Kirkpatrick Street, and then a service access road that was approved in the first phase and then widened slightly due to the science and technology needs of the Nokia building. Nokia had very specific needs when they looked at this that are different than a typical office building. Higher slab to slab heights, including in some places 32 foot between the two floors to actually facilitate the type of research that they're going to do within the building. A notch in the building here for nitrogen and oxygen related to the testing and experiments they'll do. A large loading dock that can take actually full tractor trailers and park them in the building, so they won't be hanging out over the sidewalk or blocking pedestrian access. So real thought to how this building worked within the public realm. You see in the rendering, the building's wrapped with a clear retail base. It was very important to Nokia that the lobby and their innovation and technology, I'll call it a museum, is in the front of the building and is a real feature, showcases the technology innovation, both of their history and their forward technology. Along the Paseo, there's retail that faces the Paseo and comes out in this area that Marissa described. And then upstairs, it's 11 stories, a combination of mechanical floors that are required to give the mechanical cooling and ventilation for their electric laboratories, as well as office and research space. As currently designed, the building is about 415,000 square feet, with 2 of the floors inside that square footage being entirely dedicated to the mechanical electrical systems required to bring this innovation to life on a daily basis. And on top of that, rooftop mechanical, again, with cooling to serve the needs of the facility. The building is designed to be all electric and is a minimum LEED gold while targeting a LEED platinum. So integrating the most energy efficient and environmentally friendly construction that are possible to still serve this need was really important to Nokia. There is no natural gas used in the building for any heating. It's all electric, so ability to be a carbonless operation, but for backup generators that are needed, in the event of power loss. So in summary, without getting into too much detail, a very high-tech, forward-thinking research and office facility to meet the growing needs that are ever changing in the market for Nokia Bell Labs.
Thank you, Andrew. That hopefully will provided for you a general overview of the concept of the building. As I've indicated, the planning board has already approved it with somewhat more detail being provided, through having been thoroughly vetted by not only the planning department, but the consulting planner and also the consulting engineers, looking at every aspect, every detail, and its relationship, to the building surrounding it. So we're very pleased to have had the unanimous approval from the planning board, and that just moves us quicker along the way. And hopefully tonight, the Housing Authority board will see fit to approve these redevelopment agreements so that we can report back to Nokia. We keep moving forward because they're very aggressive in their timeline, and I think that serves us all well.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Colwell.
Yeah, I mean, this is, probably the biggest coup New Brunswick has ever gotten. The Bell Labs, for many years was the most innovative organization in the world. And places around the world would love to have it. So Andrew, Marissa, I mean, what was the key thing that got them to come to New Brunswick? I mean, this is bigger news than I've ever seen in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I think New Brunswick has a lot more to offer than those of us. I mean, we all say it every day.
I do too.
We all tout the wonderful things about New Brunswick, right? But I think that, when we see other people saying, "Oh, wow, New Brunswick is pretty cool. New Brunswick has great schools, great, Rutgers, the proximity to the train station, all of these things are really vibrant and exciting. And I think that's what Nokia wants. They want to get out of the park. They want to get out of the suburbs and come to a vibrant city that is only getting more and more vibrant by the year.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And I mean, this is significant. This is big.
Thank you.
Well said, President. And
That is huge, Dale.
go ahead.
Hold up. I want a tail end of this. I want to be not so surprised that somebody chose New Brunswick as a townie and a lifelong resident, because it's an awesome town and we are very happy to have you. But Dale, let's not be that surprised. It's a gorgeous place.
Well, but what I'm saying is this is the best in the world. I mean, we're wonderful. This is I don't know.
Can I just think highly of the place
so
I was born
I love
for
New
half a
Brunswick.
second?
I've been here 30 years, but this is something we need to really celebrate even more than I've really heard. And so I say all that.
It's
to
monumental.
Say, yeah, it's monumental for New Jersey.
It's monumental.
For New Brunswick, and because they could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And great job, Andrew and Marissa, with your presentation. Commissioners, any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. Is this solar?
It is not contemplated solar right now at the building. The reason for that is the amount of power. I promise I wouldn't get into detail, but I will. The electric labs that need 10 megawatts of power to operate, and there's just not enough solar footprint. Nokia is committed in their long-term goals to a carbon neutrality at a global level. So they will be sourcing green energy from the grid to serve this, and PSE&G has been great at serving the building. But unfortunately, due to the footprint in a downtown center, it just did not have the ability to source solar on the project. And the roof, frankly, is packed with the mechanical equipment needed
Just
to
not big
operate the
enough.
building. So yeah, so not solar, but they are committed through their green energy plan to source it off the grid to operate the building in a green manner.
I'm kind of amazed with Bell being Bell, how they can't use solar.
It's carbonless. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a space restraint. Solar requires
Yeah.
a lot of space in order to
Okay.
set up enough panels to power a building that big. So that, they're
Very
making up
good.
for it in efficiency. That's cool.
Sure. But we have engaged a worldwide
Right.
lead consultant to do a full lead evaluation on the building and make sure we're using the most sustainable materials and energy practices we can to achieve that gold certification with, again, a target to get the platinum if we can achieve it.
Just a general question. Are the employees existing or there are new employees coming to town?
Great question. It's a combination of both. So it's a relocation of their existing workforce to New Brunswick, but it also, and Marissa mentioned this, the regional labor pool and the advanced labor pool and educated talent that they saw New Brunswick as the center of was key to recruiting and retaining the next generation of workforce. So they really saw building and developing this building as a commitment to people that aren't yet working for Nokia, aren't working at Bell Labs, frankly, are still in school. So it's a combination of both. The initial will be a relocation of their staff and their team, but it's really centered on recruiting and retaining the future talent of Bell Labs.
Great. Commissioners, any other questions? I know there's a couple who.
Since there's a 375 million plus project, is it possible to increase the housing authority fee from 10,000 a little bit up?
I like your thinking.
Inflation.
Well, I think another important aspect of these projects is that we didn't talk about, and we actually just went before the city council last week on H1, is there is a community benefit component to all of these projects that receive the tax credit funding through the state, the Aspire tax credits. So we've made a commitment on the first building to it's over $1.5 million to contribute to the city for the benefit of the city as part of that project.
When you say the benefit of the city, was it for the school system or?
It's at the mayor's, part of it is for two programs that we currently have funded through our construction projects. The Leaders in Training program, which is a summer program for youth. And then there is a workforce development program that we also fund for local members of the community to learn the trades.
What the
And
hell
we've
is
used some of
anyway?
our members, Commissioner, for that. We've used
Okay.
some of our residents
Okay,
for the second part, the workforce development. That's for sure.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners who'd like to speak at this time? All right, Chair. Council Hoffman, you want to move into 27? We're going to take a vote on this one right now.
I think we can take a vote on both of them, just separate them. They're separate projects, so there's the two resolutions. Dan, just
Yeah.
read the first one and then the second one.
I read both resolutions already for the record. Commissioners, if we're ready, we can do a motion in a second.
Move.
A motion.
Motion
second.
by Chair, second
second.
by Giorgiani. Give me 1 second.
I seconded it, actually.
Okay. I got you, President.
Oh,
All right.
President Caldwell.
Chairman Wright. On both resolutions,
Yes. On both resolutions.
Yep.
On all accounts.
on both of these. President Colwell,
Yes, enthusiastically.
Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunlap, Commissioner Giorgiani.
Yes.
We have two absences still, Hernandez, Medina Hernandez and Mr. Pettis. Motion passes. Great, thank you very much, and we can.
And we
move-
thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all.
everyone. We appreciate your time and.
Guys.
All right.
Great project, thank you.
Thank you,
Always.
everyone. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good
Thanks
night.
all.
Good night.